Now, moving into the round two receivers, that's where we had, Amon-Ra St. Brown blow up, fell into most rookie round twos last year. Some interesting names going in that area is David Bell going to the Browns, Deshaun Watson probably. Who knows how long, but we'll see. That ends up being he was the wide receiver 15 in your rankings, wide receiver 16 off the board. Alec Pierce, your wide receiver 11, was the wide receiver 12 going to the Colts. We got John Metchie, who you were a little bit lower on, wide receiver 18, became the wide receiver 9 going over to Houston. Tolbert's also coming off the board in that range, wide receiver 10 in your rankings, wide receiver 15. Great spot to the Cowboys. And last but not least, another round two wide receiver, Wan'Dale Robinson. Your wide receiver 12 was the 8th receiver off the board going to the Giants. So I know it's a lot of names to toss at you, but does one stand out to you as your favorite of these round two receivers to maybe be that next Amon-Ra or type of blow up in round two?
Well, I like David Bell enough. I'm not going to say like blow up, but maybe in the same, like Amon-Ra, he's not like a star. So maybe in the same sort of a way, like David Bell he's going to be a solid possession guy. Like his ceiling is capped, but like I could see him being I shouldn't say the same guy as he was in college, but like he's going to be a solid possession guy in the NFL. He's just not going to be a star. He's a well-built guy. He has great ball skills and he runs really good routes. He also knows how to use his body. The only problem with him, it's the limited athletic profile thing. Yeah. And you can see that on film. I mean, like it was not a surprise to anybody that he tested poorly. In fact, it's sort of the opposite where like most of us like to do this. We're big fans of David Bell. Like we loved watching him like every Saturday. And we were like crossing our fingers that he was going to test better. We had to rank him lower because of the testing. You can't rank a guy that tests like that, like as a second round guy or a first round guy. You just can't. So I had to bump him down, and he ends up going around where I had him or whatever. But that being said, I do think he's going to be a solid possession guy in the NFL. And he ends up going to a really good spot, I think, right? Like it's a team that not only has a true number one receiver, it also has the super athletic guy that can pop the top in deep
Peoples Jones over there. Yeah.
I was trying to do the acronym and I couldn't get it out. So you got those two guys, and then you also have the good quarterback. You also have the assuming he plays, and then you also have the good running game. And so you talk about a good scenario for David Bell in college at Purdue when he wasn't playing with Rondale Moore, which happened a lot, especially last year. Rondale Moore wasn't there, but also when Rondale was banged up a lot, so they didn't actually see the field a lot together. But when they weren't, defenses could shade at David Bell, and so you could see double coverage, which obviously wasn't great for him. He never going to see double coverage in the NFL. Like that's one of the good things for him going forward. He's not explosive enough to garner that sort of attention against single coverage and against the number 2 or number 3 cornerback of the NFL team. It's a very good scenario for him. That is going to play up his possession ethos. He's not going to put up the enormous yardage numbers, et cetera, but could he catch a bunch of balls in the NFL and start right away? Yeah, I think he could. So, I mean, that's a guy I would keep an eye on. Again, is he ever going to star in the NFL? No. But could he play right away and catch a bunch of balls? Yeah, I think he probably could. So that would be a guy that would interest me. Tolbert's a good player. I mean, Tolbert's he's a pop the top guy. I comped him to Gabriel Davis. It's sort of, in analogous, like you saw Gabriel Davis in that playoff game. It's sort of the same thing where it's like, that's what he does. It's get down the field and catch the ball deep or force the defense to keep guys back, right? Like it's just sort of the same sort of a deal. So you mentioned it was a pretty good landing spot for him. I think it was a good spot. I'm a big fan of Wan'Dale Robinson. My only concern with him, it was the smaller catch radius. I actually ranked Wan'Dale as wide receiver 10 earlier in the process. And then I was like looking at the historical catch radius numbers and there were so few guys that had the catch radius of Wan'Dale that had succeeded in the NFL that I was crunching the analytics on it. And I think I overthought it. And so I bumped him down to 12. I sort of, whatever. And he ends up going a little bit above that or whatever. But on film, I love the kid. Love the kid. Every time I watch Wan'Dale Robinson, he was smoking people. I'm a huge Iowa Hawkeye fan. He cooked Iowa every time he played him. But the year before, this past year, it was with Nebraska. he destroyed Iowa. And then this past season, it was with Kentucky. He was the only reason that Kentucky beat Iowa in the bowl game. So I actually hate Wan'Dale Robinson because he killed my teams every single year. He is one hell of a player. He is so much better than, for instance, the kid they took in the first round, Tony. They're not the same kind of player because Wan'Dale Robinson can run routes and win in the intermediate area and even downfield a little bit, whereas Kadarius Toney categorically cannot. Kadarius Toney is no impediment whatsoever to Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale Robinson is a better player. As far as John Metchie, the reason I'm lower on him is he is a non-explosive, small slot receiver who is coming off an ACL injury. Now he is reliable. He has good hands and he runs good routes. And he's going to, a receiving core where ostensibly he's going to be playing early. Nick Saban loves him. I think that's the reason why, more or less, why the NFL was super high on him, because Nick Saban, is like Nick Saban spoke higher of John Metchie than he spoke just about damn near anyone. But again, like the way that I see, it's sort of like basketball positions when you're thinking about like receiver, like the different receiver spots or whatever. For my slot guy, I want an explosive guy there. And if I can't have an explosive guy there that can do different things, can stretch the defense different ways, then I would prefer the big slot, right? Metchie's not either of them. He's not a big guy and he's not the guy that can stretch you either way. He's the small guy that's sort of like the efficiency type slot. And also, again, he's coming off the injury. We didn't get to see him during the pre-draft testing. So that's sort of why I'm out on him.
Interesting. Yeah, absolutely. All makes sense. Love it all. Did you have, out of all those names, was your favorite Bell, or did you, like, if you had to pick one of them, who do you like out of them? Wan'Dale, Bell, Alec Pierce, Metchie, Tolbert? Like, if you're drafting a fantasy draft,
I would
Dynasty league. Yeah.
Definitely as a prospect, Wan'Dale. The only reason I'm hedging is just because of fantasy, because he might not be in the best. I'll say Wan'Dale backed up by David Bell.
Gotcha. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.